Hey everybody, Derek Brown here with an exciting tutorial for you guys today. Some of you may have seen my demonstration of this true triple tonguing on a video where I do 15 notes per second using this technique. And today I'm going to reveal how I do that. And it's really exciting because I don't think I've ever seen anyone talk about a true triple tonguing. I've heard lots of people, especially brass players, talk about how to do triple tonguing, but they're talking about something that's a little bit different, and I believe this way could be much, much faster, and it can apply to brass players just like sax players. Now, a little bit of a warning, this is an extremely hard technique, and it's really going to focus on two techniques that I've talked about in previous videos. So if you're not able to master these two, you really need to check those out and spend some good long time on each. Each one took me maybe about a year, and it's going to be a combination. And what those videos are, it's just regular double tonguing. We're just doing taka, taka, taka. I'll talk about that in a second. And a combination of that with flap tonguing, or my video is called alternative double tonguing, flap tonguing. Or a lot of brass players, the most equivalent thing is doodle tonguing, where your tongue is just kind of going up and down. Doodle, 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 doodle. So I will talk about that. Now, normally when we double tongue, we're going to be going ta, ka, with our tongue. So for a sax player, that's going to look like this. Ta, the tongue actually hits the reed. Ta, and then ka, we cut off the back of our throat. The air so it doesn't come into the throat. Now that's why it's weird with a saxophone, because we're used to mostly stopping each note by actually striking the reed, so it's a little bit difficult. But once again, check out double tonguing. It is possible to do that. Now, to do that with triple tonguing, a lot of people talk about this. Now, a lot of brass players talk about this idea of triple tonguing, and what they're really doing there is it's still just those same two articulations, the front and the back, the ta, ka, the ta and the ka, but they're just doing it in different combinations to make it equal 3. And so it's like this. It's either ta, ka, ta, and they repeat that over and over, so that's 3. Ta, ka, ta, ta, ka, ta, ta, ka, ta, ta, or something like ta, ta, ka, ta, ta, ka, ta, ta, ka. Now the problem with it, and that's all well and good, and you can do that much faster than you could single tongue 3 notes probably, but it involves extra movements, and it involves particularly 2 tas in a row. However you put that, or if you did 2 kas in a row, you're going to have to make 2 much more rapid tongue movements to get that part of the 3 out. So ta, ka, ta, ta, ka, ta, ta. Basically, you have to do 2 big movements to get your 3 notes in triple tonguing. And that's all well and good, because you think, well, how else could you do it? Well, when I was experimenting recently with flap tonguing, this idea of on the saxophone going, it's actually flapping the reed up and down, your tongue up and down on the reed, which, yes, can get a little bit bloody when you're practicing that for a long time. But good news, it does strengthen, and mine doesn't bleed really when I do that much anymore. So that's what we're doing there. On brass instruments, the similar thing is doodle tonguing, where you're going doodle, doodle. You can see on the my tongue goes up, doodle, doodle, doodle. So it's kind of similar. And so what I realized was, you know what, doodle, 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 that's on the front of the tongue. I still could use that backward ka articulation. I wonder if I could put those 3 together, and instead of having kind of 2 big motions for a triple tonguing, or going like taka ta taka, or taka ta kata ka taka ta, you can alternate. So ka sometimes hits the downbeats. But instead of doing that, what if we had this, you could have this circular motion, and each circle, one whole movement, will get all 3 articulations. Might seem impossible because it's all happening in such a small space inside your mouth, but it is possible to do it. So how it's going to work is, we're going to start with kind of a normal ta, or it's like the flap down. That's how it's going to be in this cycle. That's going to be 1. 1, ka is 2, going back, and then 3 is flapping up with your tongue. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And once you start working on that, you can get it really smoothly. So I wish you could see inside of my mouth. that'd be kind of gross, but I wish you could see it. But so it'd be. And you can see you can speed it up. Now, obviously, that took me a long time to be able to, to be able to get each of those 3 articulations to sound the same. That's very difficult, especially that up. You got to get your tongue kind of out of the way. Also, the ka, if you haven't mastered making your ka sound the same, it's not going to work, or you're going to have a really weak second beat. So one of the ways you can practice this is, of course, first just try to get those 3. It's going to be crazy, sloppy, but if you can just get 3 distinct sounds, you are well on your way. Then, of course, you can use a metronome, gradually speed things up. But another thing that's really important to practice when you're doing this, it's the same thing that I talk about with double tonguing, is to not just focus on the always doing it the same way of, like, if you're double tonguing going taka 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 ka, because a lot of people will then go, they'll get really good with their tas, and their kas are always going to be weaker because they're second. It'll be like taka 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 taka. And so I always recommend, like I do in my double tonguing video, practicing a lot with the ka first. Kata 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 ka, kata 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 ka, kata ka, or practicing it in triplets, going taka ta kata 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 ka. Same thing with this, but we have 3 articulations. So don't just work on going takadl 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 takadl, but work on going kadl da kadl da kadl kadl ka kadl. Or, and then the other one, which I would say is the weirdest, is to go dul do ka diddle ka. Start with the flap up. So that'd be the first one. So that would be the first one. The second one with the ka first. And then the third one with the dul, the tongue flap up first. And you notice each one has its own problems, and certain rhythms might happen where you go da 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 da. And you got to wipe that out. You got to try to make it as smooth as possible. Maybe put triplets on your metronome. Go slow, slow, slow. But the cool news is it is possible, and I believe it's true for brass players as well as woodwind players, to do a true triple tongue. And the last thing is I have heard people talk about doing triple tongue or quadruple tongue, using different parts of the tongue. They'll say like here and then on the left side or a little further back. However, that still involves multiple going back, your reed going forward and backwards per 3 tongues. And this gets rid of that. It's just one circular motion for all 3. So give it a try, and after a while you're going to be able to notice, particularly your triple tonguing is just going to go through the roof. And once again, I mentioned you can check out this video where I do 15 notes per second and various things. But that's it for me with this tutorial. I think this will be the last one I do for a while because my tour is about over around the United States. But keep an eye out for new music videos and whatnot. So that's it. This is Derek Brown signing off. Take care.